Rick Sparber here. Today I'd like to demonstrate how to make custom labels that cost almost nothing. So here's a sampling of labels that I've stuck onto this piece of paper. They've come from many different sources. And it takes some practice to be able to spot good candidates for the artwork. Typically you want things that have been printed on good quality paper. Newspaper doesn't work very well. The colors aren't very bright. And you want to be sure that the ink is printed on directly on the paper. You don't want color surrounding it because you can't get the color off. So first let's talk about what you need in the way of tools. First thing you need is packing tape. Now this is relatively high quality packing tape. The thicker the better. The thin stuff distorts, it's not clear, and it's very hard to handle. This stuff works quite well, and it's on the order of 0.05 cents per square inch. So you can afford to be a little bit wasteful with this stuff. It's not going to set you back much. A roll of this tape used for making labels, probably a lifetime buy. Second, you're going to need something. I use a piece of metal. I put a green and a red dot. Become obvious in a minute. You could use a credit card if you want. Just something, because you want to be able to pull on the tape without distorting it. So I'm taking this card and I'm sticking it to the tape, and now when I pull, I can pull with an even force across the whole surface of the tape, and that keeps it clear and not distorting. Need a pair of scissors. You need something with a round end. This is a pen, just got a nice smooth end. You need a little cup with water. And it makes it easier if you also have a Post-it. What I've done is taken a pen and I drew a line so I could see where the sticky part is. This is used for handling small pieces of paper so that static electricity doesn't lift the artwork into the tape in an uncontrolled manner. You'll also need a surface to work on. I have here a UPS sticker, happens to be blank. The part that I want to keep, it's not the sticker, I want the backing. If you don't have this backing, you don't have access to it by going to the nearest UPS store or office supply, you can use parchment paper, kitchen parchment paper. You're going to need to glue it down because it tends to curl up. But I suspect you can find this in the trash somewhere in one of those stores. And then last but not least, oh, wait a minute. You need a white plate so that you can put the artwork down on it and have nice contrast. You can see what's going on. You also need a source of water, and some hand soap is good. So that's all the tools you need. Now you need some artwork. So here I have some, and the paper is of good quality, but it's not plasticky, because that doesn't work well. And I'm just going to take some of this. I'll take the word Emma. I'll just cut that out. I want to remove as much of the paper as possible. It's not absolutely critical, but it does help. So there's my artwork. I take the artwork and I'm going to stick it on my Post-it, one strange thing that I've stumbled into is that the sticky side of the Post-it doesn't stick real well to the packing tape, which is exactly what I want to have happen. I don't want it to stick to here. So I'm going to take this artwork, I'm going to place it down on this surface that will not stick to my packing tape. Then I need to take some packing tape, and I want to be careful when I tear this off. I don't want to distort the tape. Another problem that I tend to have is it's hard to see the end of the tape. But remember, this tape is not that expensive, so and you'll also find that it's best to have extra tape so you have something to hang on to. So let me put down, okay, gotta move the camera a bit. What I've done is drop the packing tape down on my artwork, and I'm working on this surface here so the tape won't stick to it. Next thing I just laid it down there, and the artwork stuck gently enough to the Post-it that it didn't get pulled up by the static electricity. Let's see if I can move my camera. Nope, didn't get away with that. Okay, try again. Okay, now lift that up, and now I'm going to put it down on my non-stick surface, take my fancy burnishing tool, and what I'm doing is making sure that the ink is in intimate contact with the adhesive on the packing tape. And the packing tape is going to hold it very, very tightly. So I just burnished it down, and comes right up off of here. Next thing I'm going to do is take my scissors, and I'm going to just cut my little coupon off. Now there is excess tape on there. That's a good thing, because you're going to find it's hard to hang on to a small piece. So this is ready for the next step, which is throw it in the water. One thing you'll find is as soon as that tape gets wet, it loses its stickiness, which is very nice because it's easier to handle. You're not fighting the stickiness. It'll come back as soon as it dries. So I put it in there, and I want to get that paper really wet. So don't be in a hurry at this point. Some paper, like newspaper, 10 seconds, plenty. High quality paper, it might take a few more minutes. If it's plasticized, it may never really help. So stay away from that stuff. So I just did it for a few seconds there, and I'm going to just take my finger, and you see how it's balling up? So I'm going to rub my finger on there, and what I'm doing is tearing up the back side of the paper. I'm going to soak it again, and you'll learn from experience how rough you can be with this. If you are too rough and the paper is not wet enough, you will tear the toner right off the tape. But you got to be pretty aggressive to get it that bad. So you can see as I rub, it's getting clearer and clearer. And you're left with kind of a white haze around tight parts of the letters where it's harder to get in there. This one's actually pretty good. But if you look around that E, you see that white? Okay, you don't want to be rubbing real hard around those letters because you're going to start breaking the ink up. So here's where I'm going to run it under some water, take just a little bit of soap. And I find that this soap does a good job of releasing that little bits of paper. Now, if you're not sure if you got it all, here's where the white plate comes in. So I got most of it, so I'm gonna run it under this faucet again. And let's put it up against the white plate. Actually, it doesn't help. Here, it's better under black. See the white fibers around the letter, this last letter? So I'm going to do this again. Here, let me... Okay, then maybe you can see better. So I'm going to run it under water, a little bit of soap, just very gently. Okay. Oh, let me see. Okay. So there's still a little bit of white on there. Not terrible. There we go. You can see that this is not sticky at all. You know, it's so wet. Okay, I'm being a little bit rough with it here. But it looks pretty good. So I'm going to put that on my white plate to dry, and once it's dry, it gets sticky, and you just put it down where you want it. So it's really that simple. So here you are using tape that costs about 0.05 cents per square inch. You're using artwork that is junk mail, so that didn't cost you anything. And a little bit of time and soap and water, and you can get very nice labels. So even though this is still a bit wet, give you an idea what it looks like. So here I have a cup. And there it is. So I hope you give it a try. And if you find things out to make this process better, or if it doesn't work for you, please put it in the comments. And I'll see if I can help you. So that's all for now.